Welcome to the Hank Cisco Show, ladies and gentlemen. I got a bit of I went to bed last night as a tenor, and I woke up as a baritone. So, but I don't have no fever, no soreness or anything. But I don't know. Who knows? Maybe that's what old age. When you're 89, everything comes down the aisle. But ladies and gentlemen, today, my guest today is really a good friend of mine, a guy that's really been in there with both hands. He's a 15-round fighter. He's not a 4-round fighter. So. He's a former district attorney. He got elected a couple of times, and now he's a county commissioner. I mean, that is experience. Law enforcement, enforcing the laws, creating, that's what it's all about. And still, he has all his health with him. Usually with all that there, you think the guy would be mid-astronauta, but no, he's all right. He's okay. And so we're going to talk about something. We're going to talk about something maybe some people don't know about. But my man, Bruce Castor, who was a commissioner here in Montgomery County, former district attorney, put more guys in jail that belong there, that are still in there, okay? My friend, Bruce Castor, welcome to the Hank Cisco Show. And tell me what you got on the front burner.
Well, on the front burner now is exploring a possible run for governor in the next election. So that's got my time pretty well used up.
Good. I think you prepare yourself. You've moved along in the right direction to run for a governor. I think usually some guy, they pick some guy because he's a politician, but you had the feel of it. And that's most important.
Well, you remember what it was like when we were in the DA's office together, where you build the case a little bit, and finally when you get it all comes together, then you pull the trigger. And that's what we're going to be doing.
And then if you're going to run for governor, well, here's the boxing gloves. You're going to go in there boxing, okay? So these are the things that he's going to go in there and he's going to box with both hands, okay? And these are going to be a little symbol for you. Now, I saw something on Facebook about a lawyer. Tell me something about a lawyer. What's the scoop on it?
Well, one of the good things about being a lawyer is that if you've been in the practice of law long enough, you can oftentimes figure out what the law ought to be, because the law generally makes sense. So somebody walks into my office with a problem, they lay it out for me. I might not know exactly that type of law or that particular problem, but I can figure out what probably is the way we should go, because the law tends to make sense. I try to apply that to all aspects of life by logically thinking things through and then proposing government reforms in my current position as commissioner, or should I move forward, that makes sense, that people can get behind.
Good. Well, as an old thing, you're a young-looking guy with all this experience behind you, and people say, well, he's too young to be governor or something. Hey, he's been a district attorney, he's a commissioner, and what else? I don't want to say all the degrees he has. One guy spent time talking about degrees, and they call him, he had so many degrees, they call him kid thermometer. So I don't want to talk about all his degrees. All I know is that he did the job, and that's important. And there was an old phrase, get yourself a young doctor and an old lawyer, and you got it made. So he's got it. He's a young, old, you want to call old, but the laws don't change very often, but medicine changes, so get yourself a young doctor and an old lawyer, and he's got it right here, right? So, and I'm not a campaign man. I'm just telling you that he's right out there. He's just looking, He's just like a fighter. You go out the first round, and you see what's out there. Bow, jab, boom, boom, boom. You don't just go in there and slug, say, oh, I want to be governor. And lay your groundwork. Get the people behind you. Who makes the laws? The people make the laws. Now, I got a call and I'm doing all the talking. You're my guest. You're supposed to be doing all the talking.
Yeah, I love listening to you.
But I would say you have dedicated your life, okay, and your family. Now tell me something about your family and your education.
Well, as you know, my father is a retired lawyer from Philadelphia, worked at the same law firm for 48 years, and my mother stayed home and raised my sister and I. Was a professional cat breeders, all crazy things. Yeah. And we live in the western part of Montgomery County. I went to Lafayette College, where my son now goes.
How old's his son?
He's going to be 21 just this week. So and he plays on the baseball team up there and joined a fraternity and wants to go to law school. He goes to Lafayette College.
Lafayette, where's that?
It's in Easton, up in Easton, in the
Okay.
right where the Lehigh River and the Delaware River meet. My father and I both went there. He thinks he wants to be a lawyer. He works for District Attorney John Morganelli up there as part-time. So he's excited about that. And my daughter is starting over at the community college, finishing up her first term there. She's looking like she's doing real well. And
my
wife's gearing up for will be my 6th political campaign, which is quite.
She helps out.
Well, as you know, she's very beautiful, and
I know, I met her.
And makes a lot of friends, and it's, it's a funny story. When I first got involved in politics, now you and I have known each other almost 30 years. People don't realize that you were in the DA's office when I started there back you were there before me, and I started there in '85, and people don't realize that how far we go back. But when I first became involved in politics, I didn't know a single soul outside my law enforcement friends, and so I would go to these events that the Republican Party would be having, and the idea was you were just supposed to meet the movers and shakers of the Republican Party. Well, I didn't know any of them at all, so I would go there and I would bring my wife. Now, the reason I would bring her is I'm actually not that outgoing. I know it's hard to believe for a public official and for a guy who spent all those years in court, but I'm not all that outgoing when I don't know people. But my wife is very outgoing, so I would bring her with me, so I would have at least one person there I could talk to. Well, she starts making friends with all these people, So time goes by, we go to various events, and she becomes particularly friendly with this one lady, and they start going out socially together and whatnot. So she finally says, listen, why don't you come over to my friend Kathy's house, and we're going to go and have dinner with she and her husband. So I go over there, and it was Kathy Bartle, the husband of Frank Bartle, who was chairman of the Republican Party.
Right, yeah.
So,
he became Attorney General, too, for a while, wasn't it? A short period of time?
No.
I'm sorry, Frank Bartle. I'm thinking of the other Bartle.
You're thinking about
his brother, I think.
It's no relation, but you're thinking about Paul Bartle, who was chairman of the county commissioners.
Oh yeah.
But
that's right.
Frank Bartle was chairman of the Republican Party, the longest serving chairman of the Republican Party for Montgomery County, an extraordinarily fine man. Well, that's how I ended up becoming friendly with that group of people. So
and that got you in the mix.
Yeah, it sort of got me into the mix, and when you have an asset like I have in Elizabeth, sometimes you need to take advantage of it.
Well, let me tell you, you got all the qualifications, you got all the ingredients, and I think it's time for you to start. It's jab, jab, jab. Then you got right, left, right, left. We got to do. You just can't be jabbing all the time, jabbing, and that's just like I said earlier. If you want to swim, you got to get in the water. You'll meet all different kinds of people. Learn a couple of Italian words, body or something. And everything. But I would be proud to have you as a leader. You have the leader. You're already proven to be a leader. So what am I campaigning here? Okay. But all right, tell me something about the county now. How are we doing?
Well, we are turning things around. You hear so much now about the fiscal cliff and the problems in Washington, similar problems in Harrisburg. Well, in Montgomery County, we had actually fallen off the fiscal cliff, and we were in very, very deep trouble. Where we were approaching insolvency, bankruptcy.
Right in Montgomery County.
Right in Montgomery County. The commissioners that served with me did not serve their citizens well, and that's why they were thrown out of office. Right. One of them was arrested, as you know. Right. And we had an election. 2 other commissioners were elected with me who are honest and are trying to do a good job, Commissioner Richards and Commissioner Shapiro. And what we have tried to do is we've tried to figure out a way to get us climb back up the fiscal cliff and get up at the top. And it's been a very difficult thing, but I feel as though it's working well. And if we could take that success and translate that to the state and the federal level, I think we have a good story to tell. I think you get out there in the public, you talk about meeting all kinds of people, and when I've been in public life now for almost 30 years, elected to 4 times here in
Four
the county.
times DA?
2 times as DA and 2 times as commissioner, and I was an assistant DA for 14 years. And so you're out in the community, people recognize you, they come up to you and they talk to you. And the appetite of the public for politicians fighting and being on far polar opposite ends of the political spectrum and not compromising, I think is over. I think what the public wants are, they want first of all, they want honest people that they can trust, that their word means something. And then when they get into office, that they are willing to work with other office holders to try to advance the business of government. You know, somebody asked Commissioner Shapiro and I when we were at an interview together, you know, how is it that you're able to get along so well? And the reason is we're in a sinking lifeboat, and if the Democrat and the Republican are arguing about how to bail the lifeboat out, by the time you're done the argument, you've already sunk.
Right, you're going to fish bait.
And both of us laugh about it because neither one of us are ideologues. What we try to do is come up with concrete solutions to problems. Commissioner Richards is an expert in infrastructure and in planning, so she sort of does that. Yeah. I do the public safety part of the county, and Commissioner Shapiro does the social services part, and then we all try to figure out a way to make it all work, and so far, it's working well.
Working good.
If we could translate that to Harrisburg and then to Washington, I had this exact same conversation with a mutual friend of ours, Congressman Pat Meehan. I just saw him the other night, and I told Pat that I think that the voters, the people who are worried about the fiscal cliff, as it were, are tired of ideological fights, and what they want are guys who are and women who are willing to come together and figure out a way. Sometimes moving forward in government is slow, but as long as the public sees you moving forward, I think that they'll stand behind you.
Well, I think, I don't know if I always I equate everything in boxing. You know,
I noticed that.
don't lose the fight in the dressing room. Get in the ring and battle, okay? You win, good. And if you put everything into it and you lose yourself, you're still a champion, you know.